Welcome back to part 3. What we're going to look at now is some of the stuff that I do in Ableton to make it a little bit more tidy. If you look on the screen when I bounce it on there, it should be this one coming up now. So if you look at the screen here at the moment, what you're going to see is the left hand side, right? As you know, you've got the 7 colors at the top. I kind of set them up this way. At the top I've got my bus and master tools. I then got random FX, followed by reference tracks and some other tools that I use, delays, reverbs, EQ and colour and other bits, dynamic gates and comps, and then finally at the bottom there in grey I have instruments. Something I leant towards a moment ago is that if you click on your audio effects in Ableton, normally you get it out of the tin, it looks like this. You can see delays and loops, drive and colour, dynamics, EQ and so on. But the way I like to present that is if I take one of the folders, click on it and then group in folder, remove that, and I get a whole list of them like that. Once you do that, it's kind of easier to navigate the system, right? Scrolling down, you'll see that I've got a lot of stuff in my places, and a lot of the things I have here at the moment, actually that one's grayed out because I've got rid of it, so let's just remove it. But you'll see these folders with dotted lines. Now all of these are showing as missing. That's because I've deleted them, but they stay there as markers anyway, right? So if I click on them, they're empty. But let me show you how I do that, just so you got an idea, because it's actually something I also do locally for my Finder stuff. So if I bring over a copy of this stuff, let's have a look, see if I can get it on that screen. Yeah, cool. So as you can see on my Finder on the Mac, I actually build it into the kind of local places and bookmarks on the left hand side. So let's have a look how I do that. Firstly, I'll show you how I do it on OSX. And how I build out these locations so I can quickly find the stuff that I want. I mean, generally for me this speeds up working incredibly, right? I can go to any of the hard drives that I care about, and I can also drill down to folders that are important for me as well. But first off, let's dig into these markers that I've created. So what you'll see at the chain at the bottom here, if I go into this folder here, which I've called Tools, Don't Remove, Divider, Group, and that sits in my Documents folder, right? So if I go Documents, if I bring up the name, let's go Date Created, because I only created these ones yesterday. As I say, it's a new setup for the computer. You can see the folder structure that I've built in here. So all I have to do is, if I want one of these dividers, I can take that, for example, take one of these, copy that, open this up. You can't do it yourself, that's a stupid way of doing it. Let me just take that one, for example, copy that, place it in there. Now if I go back, you're going to see it's here, right? So let me copy that as a title, and let's change that for a test, secret stuff. Now obviously what I can do is I can now drag that anywhere in my Finder that I want on the right hand side, right? So now I've got a nice divider between the two. Now I don't want that on there. I don't need a thing called secret stuff at all, so I'm going to go back and delete it, send it to the bin. Okay, and then likewise all these other folders as well, right? So it is what you're used to doing, you just drag them in. But it now means that I can go through, have a look at my 16 terabyte audio, which is a Thunderbolt drive under the desk here, and the things that I care about in there are library software, courses, patches, portfolio and templates. If I've made one for the drive as well, so I can get a feel for everything that I've got in there, and there's loads of stuff that needs sorting out. In fact, while I'm there, let's do that as well. May as well do it. But this is my main main hard drive, if you like, that's backed up onto the NASes that you can sometimes see behind me on the shelf. So likewise, it's a great way of doing it. And what you can also do, if you go into, I've got a folder here that I've made for Ableton, right? So under Ableton, I've got my user library, factory packs, live recordings that we're used to. If I open my user library, there's some folders in there that I've built as well, which are my collection, AMXD, MIDI plugins, presets, projects, and racks. I can open those up, and obviously what I can do is I can go around and build these out how I need them. If I open racks, for example, these are all of the racks that I've saved. If I just minimize all of those as they are, and likewise if I go back to Ableton now, you can kind of see these, right? You can see these built into here. This is what we were just looking at. And likewise again, you know, the dividers that I've built. Now you can build your dividers anywhere at all. So I could go into user library, a nice place to build these. It's not something the way I've done it, but if I put a new folder in here, and let's call it dividers. And the reason I'm thinking of putting it in here is that when you back up your user library, you're always going to have those dividers in there. There, and this time we're going to call it something else. Well, 8 terabyte. We'll have the audio one, right? So if I want to use those as dividers, very simply, I can pull them in, right? And now I've got my dividers built into my places. Likewise, I could take that one and I could start building it out in the same way. I don't need those in there because that's not what I need for the stuff that I've got. It's pretty well organized already. So the way I work, I've got all my sample packs. I mean, they're all sample packs here anyway, just the ones that I generally work on. So if I wanted to add some more to that, as always, now I can scroll down. Let's have a look at what I've got. I can scroll all the way down so I know where my libraries are, and let's go into the genres, right? So I can go through any of the genres that I kind of work with. I could also go into the library itself. I left one out earlier just to do this, so there's my packs, and I'm going to bring in packs as well, right? So I've got sample genre, samples pack. I could also bring in my collected ones that I've personally saved over the years, but if I go into the packs, then what I've got are the ones that I've actually sorted out here are the ones that have got samples in front of them, yeah? All the rest of it, as it says up there, I need to get through and sort them out. I have far too many samples, really. But, you know, that's the way it is. So if I go back to my genre, and let's say at the moment I am working with techno. Let's open my techno, and these are all the sample packs that I've got over the years for techno. So likewise, what I could do is I could drag that again, like we've just mentioned. It's already in there, right? I know that I use that, so it won't let me do it. So let's go into some others. There is my glitch collection. So here's all the glitch stuff that I've got. I want quick access to it, so I'm going to bring it in there as well. Now I've already done that in Ableton. You can see up there I've got my main kind of collections here, so I can go, there's my glitch, I've got some trance, I've got my techno, I've got some random EDM that I can't decide what it is, progressive house, not a lot in there because I don't really work much in the progressive, my hard house, my tech house, deep house, okay? And that's pretty much a really sneaky way of organizing these places. Now the other one that I've got, is I showed you a moment ago, is I've got my racks. So if I look at the racks, these are the racks that I've currently got, or certainly the ones that I've moved over in the last couple of days. And there is these racks MMFF. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that, I've already got it, look there, so it's already there, so I know I use it a lot. Okay, so I'm ahead of myself. So click on racks MMFF, If I want to open the instruments, yep, I need to bring those over from the other hard drive, and I've got nothing in the way of FX at the moment. So like I was saying earlier, you know, if I wanted to, let's group these and call those, just for now as a test, MMFF FX rack starter. Now you'll notice at the moment they all go into the standard presets folder. So if I right click on the prefix show in Finder, let's bring it over from the other screen, it's already in, right? It's already in your user library. So I can go into audio effects, I can scroll down, and there's the one that I just made. But personally, I like to pull them out into my own specific space. So what I would do there in that sense, I'll drag it over to Racks MMF, over inside there, hold it, and I'm going to drag it right on top of the FX. So that way I can build out all of my racks that I like, and I have literally on the hard drive got hundreds that I've made over the years that I need to port over from a backup. It's again a very fast way of getting to the stuff that you need to get to quite quickly. There is nothing worse than having a block because you can't find something. You know, you're in the creative flow and you know you've got something that you use, but you're not organized enough, or you haven't managed to get organized enough, or you didn't know how to organize your stuff to actually remove that block itself. So another top tip, right? Also, as an update for that, what I might want to do actually here is I'm going to create another folder, and what I'm going to call this is MMFF default tracks. So what I could now do is I could make a copy of that in the Mac, holding Option, drag it down, drop it into there, and I've got my rack starter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this, and I'm going to say MIDI, and I've just noticed that I've put it in the wrong place, so let's drag it up to default racks, and I'm going to make another one. I'm going to rename it, and this one will be audio. So let's go back to our tracks that we know we have those on, and what's really important to do is that you resync them, right? So what I'm going to do is just on top of this track here is create a new audio track. Let me get rid of those. Let me grab my audio inside there, get rid of console, and then I will resave that as the default. Okay, now I'm going to do another one for the MIDI like we mentioned earlier. Drop that in. Again, get rid of my console one pop-up, and I'm going to save that also. Now what this means is that I've got these racks saved, right? So the racks that I've built up there, I know that they're going to be deployed onto a new track when I make one, right? Now what I've not tested, and I can't remember, is if I update those racks, whether or not I get those when I get a new track. So let's try a quick test. We're going to save it. I'm going to overwrite it for now. That's the audio, and then we're going to take a new track. No, it doesn't, right? Oh, it does do it. Or does it do it? Hang on. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one. Nah, does it bollocks? Again, nonsense, right? Really, really bad programmer. Now, my background years ago, I've worked as a software engineer. I used to work in defense, programming a language called Ada. I've been an agility coach for a very, very long time. In fact, that's my main business, is agility and business change. And I've run game workshops. You know, I've been a production manager for various game studios. So I know about code. I know about getting code through the door and how product owners work and so on and so forth. And I tell you, there is some lazy stuff going on out there in the software world. Things like that, what I've just showed you, would would actually make this a lot easier, right? So the other way of doing this, so let's say we wanted to do it that way, again it depends entirely up to you, right? We could make all tracks empty, right? So I change that as my default. So every time I get an audio track, I get a blank slate. And if I want to, in here, let me copy this. So I've got another copy. And let's rename this starter. And because it's a test and we know what we put in there, double comp, we've got a double compressor, right? So now if I just drag that, and I could work that way, right? And I could rename this one to single comp. So let me start a new track. And now this time I just want to go into my tracks. And what I need to do is take that, not comps, they're equalizers, sorry. That doesn't matter for now, does it? I can rename this to single EQ, may as well get it right. Just delete that altogether because we don't need it. Move to trash, we're going to get rid of that one. Delete, move to trash. So okay, I can get rid of this, doing a bit of tidying as we go. I can bring that in there. What I need to do is make sure that that doesn't keep popping up because it's irritating. Right, so I'm going to get rid of that EQ. I'm going to save it exactly as it is, single EQ. Overwrite it. Take the word comp off. Once again, get rid of this, bring it in. And there is that one there. So like I was saying a minute ago, you might have a load of these, right, that get you kicked off, ready to go. And we could rename that. And we're going to say plus this time comp plus, I don't know, what's the next thing that we could put in there? Plus verb. So there's a separate one altogether. Now we could go in here and say, right, dynamics, what I'm going to bring in there is I'm going to go for the shadow hills, for example. So we'll drop shadow hills in. Go over to our reverbs. And in this case, we'll use black hole. And what I could choose to do is just save it exactly as it was under that name. I've missed it. Let me just copy it. That'll be an easier way of doing it. I'll go save inside there and I'll overwrite that one. And there you go. Now for my next audio track, for example, I can just drag down that one that I've already made, right? So these are just really quick ways of getting you going. Now to speed up the whole collection, what I'm showing you, we could just bring that down as well and stick it in there. Default tracks, right? So another fast way of getting around Ableton if you need to. All right, once again, thanks a lot. I think the next sessions we're going to start actually building some stuff using the templates that we've made. So take care, all the best, speak soon.